Hi everybody, in this video I am talking about the challenges for sons who are caregivers of elderly parents, a mother or a father. There are a lot of male caregivers out there, more than you would ever believe. The problem is we just don't regularly hear from them. Why is that? Well, it's because they think they just have to get up and do the work and they can't complain, or family members have expectations that make them feel like they can never say anything about all the stress and struggle that they're going through. So if you are an only son, or maybe you're the son in the family and you have siblings, but they're not helping, so you have taken on the primary responsibility of the care of an elderly mother or father. So this video is for you, especially if you're new to the role of caregiver. I'm going to share tips and advice about navigating and planning care for an elderly parent when health problems happen and they continue to happen. I'll talk about how you may end up working with hospitals and medical offices, rehab communities or nursing homes, and home care agencies. So stay with me for helpful tips on how you can navigate all of this. If this is your first time here, I'm Pamela D Wilson. I'm a caregiver expert, advocate, and speaker with 25 years of experience helping caregivers and aging adults work through the health, financial, legal, personal aspects, family relationships of caregiving. Please do click the button, like this video, follow my channel, comment even if it's only to say thank you. Your one little comment helps other people find these videos. And if you have a question or an idea for a future video, you can also post it below. I check out all of these comments. The best way that I can give an example of working through a scenario with hospitals, medical offices, rehab communities, nursing homes, home care is to give you an example of how this might look. So let's say your elderly parent, they've been fairly healthy, but 4 weeks ago, something happened. They fell and they broke a hip, or they had a heart attack, or they had a stroke, or a urinary tract infection, or some unexpected medical condition that landed them into the hospital and they were admitted for 2 or 3 days. To complicate this situation, let me add another layer on top. Let's say your parent is in the early stages of dementia, or maybe the mid stages of dementia, so they are definitely forgetful. They couldn't even tell the doctors in the hospital what happened, even though they know that something's wrong because they're in pain and they just don't feel well. So when mom or dad is in the hospital, things happen, right? People there are sick. When mom and dad are out of their home, maybe they're given new medications, maybe they had surgery, they were under anesthesia, other treatments. All of these changes, especially for a person with memory loss, can cause what is called delirium. So what is delirium? Well, it's mental confusion. Your parents may be saying crazy things, they may be seeing things that aren't there, just agitated behavior, unusual behavior, they're sleeping, they're not sleeping, really just having behaviors that you have never ever seen before. This can be, I hate to say it, but normal when somebody's taken out of their normal situation and they've had surgery and anesthesia and they're in a strange place, especially if they have dementia or hearing loss or vision problems. So what happens in these situations usually, the hospital will provide someone to sit with your parent 24 hours a day just to make sure they don't get up out of bed and fall or something crazy doesn't happen. Their goal is to keep your parent safe until your parent can be discharged to go to a rehab community or a nursing home. So what happens is one day somebody in the hospital just calls you out of the blue and they're like, hey, your mom and dad, they're going over to Sally Sue's nursing home at 4 o'clock today. Because as we talk, they're really not ready to go home and they can't take care of themselves. Well, the nursing home that your parent is sent to or assigned to is usually linked to the type of Medicare insurance your parent has. So that's either the red, white, and blue card with a supplement that picks up the 20%, or it's a Medicare Advantage plan. Now, in a perfect world, the discharge planner at the hospital would have called you and said, we have 3 choices of nursing homes. Which one would you like? And you could have hurried up and gone to visit the nursing home to make sure you liked it. But sometimes that doesn't happen because maybe nursing homes don't have an available bed, or it's a last minute discharge, or it's Friday and they want to get your parent out of the hospital. So now you're done with the hospital. You're moving on to learning how to work with a rehab and a nursing home. In any of these situations, I will say that you can never, ever, ever ask too many questions about things that you don't know. Usually the problem is you don't know the questions that you should be asking because you don't know what you don't know if you haven't been doing this for some time. So rehab, skilled nursing, it's really the same thing. The idea is to help your parent get physically stronger, more able to take care of themselves so that they can go back home and live independently. Generally, a nursing home will keep a parent for up to 20 days. That's paid for by insurance, but it's not always guaranteed, and here are the glitches. Your parent has to make physical progress. If they're not making progress, the insurance company is not going to pay. So in all of this, hospitalizations, nursing home, whatever, the most important thing for you as the caregiver is to figure out what will it take for your elderly parent to return home and live independently without more care from you. If your parent went from the hospital to the nursing home or the rehab, can they shower independently, bathe independently, bathe themselves, shave, brush their hair, walk independently, or now do they need a walker? Are they stronger today than they were before they went into the hospital? Probably not. They've got to regain that strength. Are they still going to be able to cook, go get groceries, drive a car, do all the things that they used to do? Because that is your number one goal. These are the things that you want to talk to your parent about and the things that you want to talk to the nursing home staff about, because these are the goals. And again, as I mentioned, know that the Medicare plan will review your parent's progress every 7 days. So, technically, if your parent is not participating, they may be only in a rehab or a nursing home on a paid status for 7 days. And then they may call you and say, hey, time to take mom and dad home. And you may be like, oh, there's no way mom or dad can go home. They can't take care of themselves. That is another video on my channel. So the biggest thing is don't assume your parent's going to be there for 20 days. Don't assume that you have that leisure time, that you can't be planning and try to work everything out for your parents' care. You have to be vigilant and get all this stuff done. You want to start making plans for their return home on the day that they go into the nursing home, and start talking to the staff at the nursing home about, how do I know when they're going to be discharged? How can I make sure they can do everything they used to do? All of that kind of stuff. You want to avoid any kind of surprises or miscommunication. To that end, make sure your parents sign the nursing home paperwork. Do not sign it for them unless they cannot sign, or unless you're the power of attorney. And then if you sign, you don't sign it under your name, you sign it under their name with you as the power of attorney. You don't want to be personally liable for that bill. You also want to talk to your parents during this whole thing to make sure that they're on board and they understand what working hard to return home means. Because if they can't, or they don't, your time commitment as their caregiver is going to grow and grow and grow in scope and complexity and time and everything. So let's say mom and dad have been in the rehab and the nursing home, and you got the 3-day notice. They're ready to go home. Here's what you need to know. They may have a different list of medications when they're leaving the nursing home versus when they came in, or even versus when they were in the hospital. If anything's changed, ask why so that you understand. Because maybe they took your parent off a medication that your parent really needs. Either way, the rehab is going to send prescriptions to a pharmacy for you or give you paper prescriptions. Make an appointment with your parent's primary care doctor. That is a standard procedure, because you want to go back to that doctor to make sure that no medications got discontinued, that your parent's care is fine, that there's somebody managing your parent's care medically now that they've had this health change, right? Because the doctors at the hospital are not going to follow up with you. You have to follow up with your parent's primary care doctor. And depending on the progress that your parent made or did not make while they were in the nursing home, which means regaining physical strength and exercise and the ability to live independently, the nursing home may send home an order for physical and occupational therapy. Now, a lot of people refuse these. They're like, oh, I don't need that. I don't want to go through the hassle. Well, encourage your parents to do it because, again, who does it benefit? It benefits your parents and it benefits you. Get your parents to commit to do these exercises every single day, whether or not somebody is with them or not. Because if they don't recover from this health incident, they're going to be weaker. You will be doing more for them. And the next time something else happens, they're not going to participate either. So their health is going to go like this. And the time that you're going to provide care is going to go like this. So it's going to be an opposite working relationship. Parents care less for themselves. You care more for your parents. Time, money, stress. Not good for the caregiver. Your goal is to keep your parents as independent and physically able as long as possible. So you really have to both be on the same page and talk about expectations. If your parents aren't going to do this, then that is a different conversation in another video that I'll be putting up. Don't, as the caregiver, start doing too much for your parents, because when you take those things away from them, right, simple things that they can do, like, walking downstairs to do the laundry, which is good exercise for them, right? You take that away, your parents don't do that. They never start doing it again. They expect you to do it forever. So caregivers can be unintentionally too helpful, causing their parents to become more dependent. So now that your parents back home, goal, get them to return to doing everything they were doing before they went into the hospital. If you haven't yet had conversations about changes in their health, doctor visits, future costs of care, their expectations of like how much you're going to be available to participate, now is the time to get everything out on the table. Because your parents may be expecting you to do a lot of work to help them while you want to go on living your life, pursuing your career goals, your dreams. And your expectation may be that you're not going to have a life significantly affected by your elderly parents' care needs. Sometimes that's just impractical, which is why these conversations are so important. You have to set boundaries. Needing care, as you know, all this stuff that's happened can be associated with costs and more money. So this means that if you haven't talked to your parents about money, now is the time. How much money do your parents have to pay for care? Have they done their legal planning? Do they have their medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, living will, personal rep of the estate document, trustee document, all this stuff? There's a lot to do with planning. Get everything out on the table and have these conversations. I have other videos on this channel that talk about all of this. There's an entire program on my website. It's called Caring for Aging Parents. The link is below. I thank you all for being here. If you have a question for a future video, you can post it below. Please like, follow this channel, comment, even if it's only to say thank you. Your participation helps other people find their way here.